Hello, I'm Indiana Jones, and this is Carnival of Cosplay. Actually, my name is Mark Pinksten. I'm a comedian, a performer. I've done 70 Comic Cons in the last 6 years with my pop culture magic shows. I'm Igor on the Carnival of Horrors. The Countess and Igor are currently missing and presumed dead after being hit with a North Korean missile. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also a filmmaker, an editor. I run Serious Penguin Films. I'm a computer security expert, cosplayer, and now the host of this program until I can find someone else to host it. And today is the first episode of Carnival of Cosplay. And our guest is R.W. Martin. And I'll bring our R.W. up right now. Hey,
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Like it's good to be here, Scoob. Yeah.
welcome, R.W. We've known each other a few years now. I think we've
Indeed.
met at some con.
I don't
I
know if
know
it
that you
was
wanted the ball and
White.
idol.
I
I
don't know
think
if
the
it was
first
White
time.
Mountain Comic Con or if it was one of
It
the
might have
other
been
ones.
White Mountain, but I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen you everywhere.
yeah. I'm very popular at the post office.
Yes, I know on the walls. I've seen that. Waiting for the reward to get bigger. Um,
Yes, yes. Me too, actually.
you know, you turn to yourself, it gets that big.
Yes.
But I'd like to thank you for being the first guest of this new program. You were nice enough to be Michael Myers on the with the Countess and Igor a few weeks ago when we interviewed Michael Myers, and you did a good job of that. And so I thought of you for the first guest for this program.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
First of all, how'd you get in? I know you were used to. You are an actor, so
Yes.
where'd the cosplay come from?
Well, so
Well,
let's go
actually, it's
way.
kind of cosplay, but
Yeah, let's go way, way back. So when I was a kid, I was wicked shy. I know it's kind of hard to believe that. But when
no,
I was
I was too. I don't think I talked to anybody till I was 16 or 17.
I guess when I was in grade school, I was kind of hyperactive and wasn't really shy. But then when I got to high school, I was wicked shy. I was actually on stage crew for Peter Pan and didn't even want to go out at the end to take my bow for the stage crew thing because I didn't want to be in front of a bunch of people. So in somewhere around 86, I permed my hair and I had a mustache and I looked like Weird Al Yankovic. And I worked at a pizza place, and my boss Lisa Hamblin asked what I wanted to do with my life, and I said I want to be an actor. And she said, "What have you done?" I said, "Nothing." And she's like, "Have you done any plays or anything?" And I'm like, I can't perform in front of people. And she's like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to be like a TV actor." She's like, "They film TV shows in front of a studio audience." And I'm like,
We're not right
"Well,
now, but
yeah,
they used to.
exactly." So I go, well, I'll be a movie actor then. And she's like, they film on location. There's crowds everywhere. So everything that she tried to get me, I had an excuse for. So she finally said, there's a variety show coming up. I think this was 87 now. And you should do this variety show. I'm like, I can't get up in front of a bunch of people. And she's like, well, I don't want to hear that you're going to be an actor anymore. I don't want to hear you talk about it. So, anyways, I performed as Weird Al, lip sync 2 songs, got a standing ovation, and that's kind of when it all started. It was 1986. I got
It's
over my shyness, and my urge to entertain kind of started in '87, and I've just been acting ever since. So
I
now
have a
let's.
similar story. I was in a play by Jules Pfeiffer called Crawling Arnold, and I was this butler that said like 2 lines. And so I didn't have any problem speaking. Oh, I had a problem speaking, but 2 lines I could do. Not since last time. The question was asked of me, have you been to the UN lately? Not since last time. What were you doing there? Rioting. And it was a stiff English butler with gloves and everything. And it just got big applause. And I liked the applause. And before I knew it, I was starring the next year. So I have a similar story. I mean, I used to get zero on oral reports in school because I didn't want to speak in front of people.
Yeah.
And now look what's happened to us now. We're both shameless.
Exactly. Yeah, I actually in high school I had this teacher, William Altman, and he would come to teach like Revolutionary War or whatever, dressed in period costumes to teach the class, and I just thought that was phenomenal. And so one of the things to pass his class was you needed to learn the Gettysburg Address, and I have zero memory, so I said you might as well fail me now. He's like, I'm not going to let you fail. I'm like, well, I can't memorize this. So I went in every day after school or, in some free period or whatever it was. And he said, repeat after me. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation. So I go, 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation. He goes, okay, come see me tomorrow. And so the next day I went and saw him and he said, what did you learn yesterday? I go, 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth in this continent a new nation. And he goes, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. So then I said that. And by the end of this thing, I had memorized the Gettysburg Address because he did it in sections as opposed to trying to do the whole thing at once. So, anyways, in 2014, or like a year or two before that, a friend of mine was like, hey, I went to this Comic Con in Massachusetts. I believe it was Super Mega Fest. And I'm like, that's cool. And he's like, I met this person and that person and this person and this person. I got this autograph, that autograph. So the Comic Con thing was in my head, but I just never got to one. And then in 2014, I went to Granite State Comic Con as a volunteer for Saturday. So I had to just stand in this one spot and tell people, okay,
With a
hold
red
on.
shirt on.
Yeah. So I just had to go, okay, you can go now. Okay, you guys got to wait. Okay, that guy's done. You can go. And I just like manned the VIP line and I couldn't move or do anything. So the next day I went back actually as Shaggy, which is kind of why I'm wearing the Shaggy thing today. But I had really, really, really short buzzed hair. So I wasn't Shaggy at all. But so everybody was looking at me and I'm like, I'm cosplaying, I'm Shaggy. And, with the butch haircut, you don't look anything like Shaggy. But I went, like I'm Shaggy, dude. Yeah. And everybody's like, wow, that's awesome. So then that same year, 2014, I went to Super Mega Fest as Murdoch from the A-Team. And then like shortly after that, I hit another con.
Wait a second. I think we can show that.
Yeah, so that's Vermont Comic Con there. Yep. That's Vermont Comic Con. I went as Murdoch. And then, so I think I think it was Granite State Comic Con, then Vermont Comic Con, and then I went to Super Mega Fest as Murdoch. And the next year, I think I did Massive Comic Con, and then somebody started calling me the Man of 1,000 Faces, which was weird because at that point I had cosplayed 4 people or whatever. So, this guy Calvin Exum was like, "It's the Man of 1,000 Faces." So then I'm like,
Calvin
"Oh
can't
God."
count very well. He doesn't handle math very well, does
So
he?
now I'm like, I got to live up to this thing. So I started doing, John Baker from Chips and Indiana Jones and Bert from Mary Poppins. And I just started cosplaying everybody I could possibly cosplay to live up to the Man of 1,000 Faces. Yeah, Bert from Mary Poppins, one of my favorite ones. And I had to practice the Dick Van Dyke smile because if you look at Dick Van Dyke, that's kind of his smile or whatever. But it's what's weird about when I cosplay is that picture right there. Everybody goes, "Oh my God, you look just like Dick Van Dyke." But then I'll cosplay Roscoe, who, James Best looks nothing like Dick Van Dyke. And everybody goes, "Oh my God, you look just like Roscoe." So I have this neutral face that no matter who I cosplay, somehow I look like Harrison Ford, or I look like Dick Van Dyke, or I look like, Jim Varney or James Best or
You
whatever.
don't
So
have to wash your face when you do this one, but yes. I think I have Jim Varney here somewhere. That's not Jim
oh,
Varney.
there's my dude. Yeah. So that one I added and that one got wicked received well. I made the prop of the half and half container exactly like it was in the movie. And I made all these other props, the record, and just so much stuff that I made to do the dude. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. But now my hairline is wicked receding. So I'm not necessarily giving up cosplay, but I'm slowing down and going on to different characters or whatever.
Well,
But
there are such thing as wigs.
yeah, I know. But the thing is, some people's buy these wigs that are like $15, and it's like, dude, that's a wig. But to get a real wig that would really work,
Depends
they're
on the
like,
wig.
$100 or whatever. So I don't really have that kind of money right now. But
I don't think I've spent that much on wigs. My Doctor Who #4 wig
yeah,
was a $15 1970s tennis pro wig from
ah,
Amazon.
nice.
And because of the fuzziness, it worked. Because I've literally spent I have maybe 5, 6, 7 wigs, and I probably spent a total of maybe $120. So there is, you just have to be picky sometimes. Well, it took me a few years to get my new Scamander wig. I even tried dyeing my hair red, and that really didn't work. Oh, I burned my forehead. I did it
Ah,
myself. And but I finally found one after a year and a half and went with that one because I had a red wig for a while that lasted one day of performances at Granite State Comic Con, and I gave the wig away in the show.
back in the '90s, I mean, I've always been big into Elvis, but in the '90s, I had a white suit made, and I dyed my hair
Oh,
black and grew big sideburns, and was doing like this Elvis thing for a while. But dyeing your hair is a real pain in the butt, and when you go to a salon to have it done, they won't touch your eyebrows, so you have to do those separately.
yes.
So I would dye my hair and then keep my eyes closed and put some of the stuff on my eyebrows very carefully, not to getting it in my eyes. And I
Thank you
just,
very much.
yeah, and
Elvis
I
is
would
off the building.
do the whole thing. But um, yeah, so I mean, acting and cosplay are very similar. Some people just cosplay and they
Yes.
just show up as, Robin from Batman, but they don't do the voice. They don't, act it out.
Well,
They
they
just
don't
walk around as
really
Batman.
interact with people that well. It's like they wait for people to come up to them.
Right. So some people just cosplay. They just want to dress up as somebody and go to a con and walk around. I try to take it to the next level where, like with Shaggy, I try to learn the voice and make it interactive for like little kids who know who Shaggy is. So I can go, well, like, what's up, little dude? And like they smile and they, and it's an interacting thing. And some people, don't do that. And I'm not condemning those people, but as an actor, I try to bring life to the characters when I'm
I
at a
try to do that too, just for something to do. I'm always looking for something. I mean, in this outfit, I've gone up to people and asked if they've seen Fortune and Glory. Some 23-year-old twins I'm looking for, named Fortune and Glory.
yeah,
Or as Doc Brown, I go up to people and ask to borrow a cup of plutonium.
nice. Yeah. So there
You know,
are a
you
lot of,
got to have some line to start an interaction with people. A pallbearer, you know, oh yes, doing the pallbearer lines and something to interact with people. To me, that's more fun than just doing the cosplay. The interaction with people,
yeah. And I've been
and
very,
obviously, I made a whole show that I've done almost 300 times in the last 6 years, doing all kinds of cosplays and comedy and magic. So,
yeah,
and my shows are interactive too. So I love the interaction.
yeah. So like I say, in '87, I went from, perm hair and a mustache, which you can go to my official website, which is right there, and you can probably find this picture of me as Weird Al. But it
Yeah,
started,
I've never seen. I'm going to do that because I've never seen you as Weird Al or Elvis,
yeah,
and I
it's
would like to see both of those.
so it started out, like I say, very kind of small, like being a shy kid and bullied, and not to promote my book, but like I wrote a book about my life and talk about being bullied and low self-esteem, and then kind of how I got out of that into where I am now. And people who, might not have known me then go, wait, you were shy, and I I'm like always in your face kind of a person, trying to make people smile, trying to make people laugh, because the world has just been sad for a while, where no
Oh,
one talks
especially in
about,
the last few years.
yeah, especially the last few years. So everywhere I go, I try to bring a smile, and I try to find characters that fit me. And I've been very blessed where I was at a con with Mick Foley, and I was dressed as Bert from Mary Poppins, and he's like, I want to sing Chim Chimney with you. Like, I didn't say anything, he just said it to me. So there's a video online of me and Mick Foley singing Chim Chimney. Then I met John Snyder a couple of years ago dressed as Roscoe, when we did this little Roscoe skit, and that was big. Yeah, so that was a couple of years that was like 2015, I think. And then 4 years ago or 2 years ago, they came back or whatever, and I did this video with them. But I've just been blessed with cosplay and acting and the people I've met. I met Richard Hatch, who was on Battlestar Galactica, and he was actually in the process of helping me get a television show that I created on the air. But what I didn't know is he was suffering from cancer at the time, never said anything. And before we were able to get too far with it, he unfortunately died from cancer. But Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica wanted to help me get my TV show going. So with this cosplay and acting thing and, you know, who I am and my personality and my charisma, I guess, I've been able to do a lot of stuff that other people haven't been able to do. And for that, I'm very blessed. Yeah.
Well, how about this? Has anybody ever thought you were the actual person?
Well, one time when I did Ernest, somebody like was like, "Oh my God, oh my!" Like they started freaking out, and I'm like, they're like, "Oh my God," and I'm like, "No, no, I'm not him. He passed away. I'm just, you know, cosplaying." And they're like, "Oh my God, can I get a picture with you?" And they like were shaking and stuff. So one time is Ernest, and yeah, but people just like I say, a lot. I get wicked reactions. Like one time I was doing Dr. Detroit, which I don't have a picture up here, but you can go to my website here and you can find it. But I was walking through Super Mega Fest Comic Con, and somebody said, "Oh my God!" And I look around trying to figure out what they're freaking out over, and I realize it's me. And they're like, "Dr. Detroit, oh my God!" And they like freaked out. So like sometimes I do a character that's very obscure that I know no one's going to remember, but when that one
Yeah,
person
3 people saw that movie.
yeah, when one person reacts like that, you go, "Well, I'm glad I did this." So I try to do characters that you know, that touch my life in a way growing up. I don't necessarily cosplay so that you'll remember who it is or this person remember or that person. I do it from my own thing. And if you get one person to freak out like they did with the Dr. Detroit or the Ernest, then you've done your job and you're like, one person got it. That's all that really matters, you know? But yeah.
I've done a Westworld cosplay of the Man in Black, and I did that in Connecticut, and got tremendous response. Johnny B, I think, the comic book guy who sells coffee at cons, went
Johnny
crazy.
C.
Johnny C demanded a pic, and then I went to Maine because I was performing in either Bangor Comic Con or Bar Harbor Comic Con, and nobody knew who the hell I was. You know, they just. I've had that too at Super Mega Fest at the after party one day. I was pallbearer, and someone came up to me and goes, "I don't know who you are, but you're doing it very well."
That's funny. Tracy and I do, well, we don't necessarily anymore, but we did the Wet Bandits from Home Alone. And she had gone off somewhere, and I was walking by somebody, and they go, which doctor are you? And I'm like, I'm the guy from Home Alone. And they're like, oh, like, yeah. So sometimes people just don't quite get it. But no offense.
Well, they thought you were Doctor Who?
Yeah. I was Marv from Home Alone, and I had a scarf on, and they're like, "Which doctor?"
It's a scarf,
yeah.
Because my News Commander has the yellow and kind of gray scarf, and I get called Doctor all the time. And my News Commander has to be outfit because people see the scarf and they think you're Doctor Who number 4.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
I mean, so I started doing the cosplay thing in 2014. So 2019 would be 5 years of doing it. And then 2020, 21, and now 22, the cosplay thing and the Comic Cons have kind of, you know, they're sometimes you have one and sometimes you don't. And I haven't really been going to them. The last one I did, I think, was 2019, where I did the Roscoe thing. But
no, I saw you last year. I was performing.
Was that? Oh yeah, yeah. So right. So last year, the thing, the Expo thing. Yeah, that's true. So I did.
Thing
right.
in Essex, Vermont, the Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo.
Yep.
Because I was performing on stage, the stage area, And I
Yeah.
kept looking up to the left, and Michael Myers was there overnight for a whole time just staring at me. And can you kind of set me a little bit of edge? I was okay with it, but I was like, who is that? Why is Mike Myers staring at me? And you came up after when I stopped performing, and I found out it was you.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot about that. And then the next day we went, or later that day, I think it was, we went to the one in West Lebanon. They were having one. So yes, I did Michael Myers with those two, and then
Yeah.
I did something else, and it just popped into my head, and now I forgot. Oh, I went to Super Mega Fest last year as Michael Myers, but nobody knew I was there because I didn't take the mask off. And the only people that I would run into would I say, "Hey, it's me" or whatever. But for the most part, I didn't want anybody to know I was there. Um, but yeah, so in 5 years, I went from like two costumes to like,
What's the
or
number? Have you figured out what the number is?
no, it's probably like 30 or something. So it's not a
Not a
thousand.
thousand, I know.
Yeah, it's not a thousand. But I guess it's just because, you know, I don't know, whatever I do, I did it right. And, and what's funny is I'd go to Comic Cons when I first started, and we'll just, John Smith will just come up with a John Doe name or whatever, would cosplay this specific person. That's who he was every single time. So let's just say he
I
was,
know people like that.
yeah. So what I'm saying, so let's say he was Bob Ross, because I'm just trying to think of a character. So this guy was Bob Ross every time. Then I come onto the scene, and I'm doing 15, 20 different people. And one time at Granite State Comic Con, I changed 8 times in one day. I was 8 different people. So I set my watch for every hour, and I went to my car, ripped my clothes off, put new clothes on, went back in, set my watch, went back out, ripped my clothes off, went back in. So I did 8 changes in one day. And so once I did that, those people that I'm saying, like John Doe and Jane Doe or whatever, who had one cosplay, suddenly said, wow, R.W. is doing like 8 cosplays a day. We need to up our game. And those people started doing more and
Well,
more
there's
and
still
more
a few people
cosplay.
I know that just have one.
Yeah. But
But I get you beat because at one weekend, GraniteCon a few years ago, I did 6 one-hour shows with like 3 or 4 characters in each show. No, I did 3 shows that weekend. So I had a whole bunch, I had 10 different characters in 3 shows. Plus, I walked around as 2 additional characters. So I did 12 that weekend.
nice. Yeah.
Uh,
So,
but I'm insane. So
yeah.
yeah, I overdo everything. I mean, I over deliver, overdo, and I probably like had to sleep for 3 weeks after that weekend because I've actually done 9 hours at a Comic Con. My first Grand State, I did 9 hours in 2 days,
Wow.
9 shows. I mean, I'm down to 6 now. It's much better, but because I'm less stupid than I used to be. But I've always over delivered, and I end up tiring everybody out that helps me.
In the beginning, before I met Tracy, I would go to Wakanda and sleep in my car because I had no money for a hotel. So I'd sleep in my car, and then when I would change, I'd go out and I'd pop the front door and the back door and stand in between them and look around and make sure no one was anywhere, and pull take my pants off. I always wore shorts underneath everything, so when I pulled my pants, I still had shorts on, so that it like wasn't really exposing myself or whatever. And I would literally go rip, 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 throw in the back seat, put next costume on, go inside. And then I'd come back out, do the same thing. And after the end of the thing, the next day I'd be like, where the heck is my hat for Roscoe? I can't find it anywhere. Because
Throw it somewhere in your car.
everything would just be thrown in the back seat. So it would take twice as long because I'm like, okay, it's in here somewhere. And then
Eight
when I
is a lot in a day. I've done the most I've done if I've just cosplayed somewhere is 3.
yeah.
And the
And
only one that really takes a lot of work is if one of them is pallbearer.
yeah.
At Terrificon this year, I started pallbearer, and after 2 or 3 hours, I was melting. Literally, the face was melting off my face. I
Yeah.
had to go and I had towels and makeup remover in the car. Then I went and did all that work in the car in the parking garage, and came back out as Newt or Doc Brown or somebody. Newt and Doc Brown tend to be my probably my go-to cosplays. You have a go-to cosplay?
Yeah. Yeah, Doc Brown is on my list. I just don't know if I'll ever get around to doing it or not. But so at the end of the con, I'd go home and there'd just be all this stuff in the back of my car that I'd have to bring it all inside, put it
I do know the
all
feeling. Yes,
put it
I've done
all
the
back
same thing.
together so that I could be ready for the next one. But it was ridiculous.
I have a
Um,
two-seat sports car, so there's not a lot of room for stuff in the trunk and the seats. It
yeah,
was like filled with costume and crap, and every time I go somewhere, I understand.
I can't do makeup stuff because I'm always itchy, so I always have like a hair in my nose tickling me, so I'm always doing this or whatever, or I just feel like I do this. So one day, God rest his soul, there was this artist from Tilton, New Hampshire. His name was Michael Mitchell, and he created a comic book called Zombie Sub 920, and he passed away a couple years ago, and he wanted me to be his zombie from his comic book. So I went to Granite State and somebody did makeup for me to make me look like his zombie from his comic book, not zombie from Walking Dead, but a comic book zombie. Very different. So they get it all put on and they go, wow, that looks awesome or whatever. And I do some photo ops or whatever. And then I go like this because I'm itchy. And as soon as I did that, I went, oh my God, no. So I had to go back and have them touch up my nose because
Yeah,
I'm
sealer. I learned about sealer after having white and black paint all over my hands.
yeah,
Because I didn't know anything about makeup. I didn't have anyone to help me do the makeup. I had to experiment and learn to pallbearer makeup myself,
yeah.
and that was a real thing. And I just ordered some waterproof makeup that's supposed to work. I haven't tried that out yet. So next time I'm Paul, I'm going to be trying that. But the makeup thing is and resisting the urge to do this
Yeah,
and
and I do that all the time
yeah.
because I'm always like hair, will tickle me, I'm always going like this or whatever. So like with makeup on, so there's a
Especially if it's
lot of
hot in the con. Like it was really hot at Terrificon this summer, and I was really melting to death. I mean the stuff around the eyes and the eyebrows, and
yeah,
I looked like a zombie for after a while.
yeah. I have
And,
sensitive eyes, so I'm always got like the little crusty thing, so I'm always doing that too, and so therefore I don't want to makeup around it. But I've always wanted to do Beetlejuice, but I know that
yeah,
I can't. I know that I can't do it because
no, I wouldn't do that. Try
I
that either.
couldn't do it,
After my
because
makeup experience, I would never do another makeup character.
yeah. So
I do makeup with Paul because Paul is so popular.
yeah. But so I just tend to do ones like I say. I used to keep my hair really short, and I could do all these short characters, like Dick Van Dyke and Jim Varney and Roscoe and all these ones that had short hair. But as soon as you go long, you can't really do Dick Van Dyke like this unless you can somehow get this hair up in there. But what happens is, as you can see in the back here, there's some that always scraggly out, and people
I
see it.
know.
It just to me, it's horrible. So I grew my hair. I did a pilot for a TV show called Zodiac where I play Hades. And they're still trying to sell that to Netflix or Hulu or whatever. So I had long hair because I did this Zodiac thing where I was, like I say, playing Hades, and I had like really scraggly beard. All this stuff's at my website. You can find it there. And so from there, I did the Home Alone character because my hair was long, so I did Marv. And then from there, I went and did the dude. So now I've just been keeping my hair long because, whatever. And then I'm filming a
Right,
yeah,
him
there you
again.
go. I'm filming a movie currently in Messina, New York, where my hair is in a ponytail, so I have to keep my hair long. But unfortunately, in in at the end of February, I'm going on a Love Boat cruise, and I got to chop all this off so I can be Doc from the Love Boat, and I got to look like that. So now I got to get a ponytail extension. So when I go film this movie in May, I have a ponytail sticking out of my cowboy hat. So
I don't think you look like Bernie Koppel, but you do in that picture.
I know it's a weird thing, and I've upgraded those epaulets. So I made some that are medical that are actually right here, but I don't want to step out of frame to grab them. But so now I've upped my ante on that, but I'm looking forward to that cruise. But so my hair depends on what's going on in my life. So like I say, I was filming a movie in Messina, and I have to keep my long hair, but unfortunately, I have to cut it for this cruise. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to, like I say, get a ponytail extension because
Yeah,
I
I
wear
keep
a
my hair
cowboy hat.
short so I can wear wigs.
Yeah. So
Even though this summer when I did the Magic Loki at Granite,
yeah,
I had to wear a face shield because Granite required the mask.
yeah,
So performing in a with the long Loki here, with a crown, a face shield, and a microphone.
yeah.
And I did like 4 shows in 2 days of that, and that was hot. That was really that main of Loki here was the things I do for my art.
Well, what's funny is I was gonna do Thor's brother, but I'm trying to keep that low key right now.
Yes, that's one of the jokes I used, saying that Scott didn't want to hire me for GraniteCon because he said I was a too low key.
Uh,
And
but
I campaigned for my show was a campaign stop for Loki, for President Loki, to put a real villain in the White House.
nice.
Yeah,
That's funny. But yeah, so again, I've been, like I say, I went through my, entertainment as a kid phase when I was in grade school, bouncing off walls, but I have ADHD. And
me
then,
too.
yeah,
In
and then
fact,
I got,
I'm older than you, so when I had it, I was just known as a bad kid.
yeah,
Because
well,
back then you were just a bad kid because that was the early days
yeah,
of ADHD. I'd do my work and then we wandering around the room looking for something to do.
yeah.
And then they put me on an early case of Ritalin for like 12 years. And finally it was diagnosed as I was too much Ritalin as a teenager because they kept that same dose for years and years and years. Uh,
I got put on the Ritalin when I was in like early grade school, and about, I don't know, 6 months in, my mom's like, yeah, no, no, and she just stopped giving it to me because I was like this. So she's like,
I
well,
have been medicated for many, many decades, and I just chose careers that my ADHD would be my superpower.
yeah.
Performing, cosplay, teaching. I taught for 25 years, and my ADHD helped me travel around the world nonstop because I had the energy to do so, and the performing as well, and the cosplay. So I think ADHD is a superpower for people like us.
And it's, I have to agree with that. Once as a kid, you didn't know what to do with it because you were a kid and you're like, ah,
Yeah.
but when I got into my, late teens and early 20s and got a job, no one could wash dishes faster than me at a restaurant. No one could, do peel potatoes faster than me. No one could do anything faster than me because I had ADHD. And once I learned what it was they needed me to do, then I was like, dishes, and they're like, wow, you're the fastest dishwasher we've ever had. And like, mowing a lawn or whatever it was, I figured out how to do the mowing the
You have
lawn.
the same thing. You over deliver.
Yeah, but I could do it twice as fast as anybody. And I
Yeah.
used to work at warehouses where you would pick and pack orders. No one could pick orders faster than me because of my ADHD. So yeah, you turn it into a superpower. I lost a lot of friends because of ADHD. And I tried to pretend to be somebody I wasn't when I first meet people. And then the real me comes out and they're like, whoa, no.
Some people think people like us are just too intense
Yes.
and they can't handle it.
Yeah. So
So I do know what you mean.
So the people in my group right now, which is a very small group, understand who I am and want to be around me, and that's all I need. I don't need like 85,000 friends. I just need friends that accept me for who I am. But yeah, so it started in basically 86, 87 with the Weird Al thing and the perm hair and the lip syncing, and then I did some extra work in some movies, Ethan Frome and Spitfire Grill. And then, 2014, I decided to cosplay and took off immediately and became the man of 1,000 faces and was wicked popular. And then I'm like, now I'm just kind of, writing scripts and acting in movies and trying to get my, acting, writing career going or whatever. So I'm concentrating more on that and less on the Comic Cons and cosplay. Like if
Well, yeah, I did too this year. I did a fraction of what I normally do and started a YouTube channel because I wanted a creative outlet, but I didn't want to necessarily move all that heavy equipment and wear a face shield while performing. And it just got to be too much this year because my normal cast of characters that used to come with me didn't want to come out because of COVID.
yeah,
So I only recently took my first gig for next year. I'm doing a thing in Connecticut that I did last year, but uh, and I made the Magical Loki show because there was less equipment to carry.
nice.
Uh, so I'm very I'm going a different way. I really haven't been an actor in movies. I've been more behind the scenes, but suddenly I'm on 3 or 4 shows on YouTube. So it's kind of accidentally I've got into acting again.
I do a lot of work with a podcast called The Dorkening on Monday and Wednesdays. On Mondays, we have a guest usually, and then on Wednesdays, we talk about things that are going on, like, oh, hey, who saw Spider Man? Hey, who's watching The Mandalorian or whatever? So Wednesdays is more about
Yes.
pop culture talk, and Mondays, it's a guest. In fact, this Monday, I don't know when this thing will be on. It might be on after this or whatever, but I can
No,
tell you.
it'll probably come out tonight.
Okay, so we have on Monday we have Murray Langston, the
Ooh,
unknown comic, on our show. So I'm looking forward to that.
I know
Um,
who he is.
yeah, so
The Gong
um,
Show.
yes, and much more. He's on the Sonny and Cher show. He was on Hudson Brothers Razzle Dazzle show, laughing. I mean, he did it
Hey,
all.
Chucky Movie. Hey, Chucky Movie. Hey, Chucky Movie.
Yes. Uh, so there's a documentary. So I'm working currently on the audio book for my book that I wrote, and I got about 3 more chapters to do. And it's not your typical audio book, like, where you got the guy going, R.W. Martin grew up in southern Vermont. Like, it's not that. It's like me reading it. And if I mess up, I keep it in there. And because I have ADHD. So it's like, back in 1972, when I was 17 years old, I went to this store, and I just keep it in there because that's who I am. And then,
They do ad libs from the books. They
yeah,
make
and
the
so the
book
same
happen.
guy who's helping me with the audiobook is actually in the process of doing a documentary on my life called R.W. So I'm
So,
looking forward to that.
so some questions for you.
Yeah.
You're not a sewer. You're a buyer.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just reach for it, whatever. I'll pop out of frame for 2 seconds. But the only thing that I was actually creatively able to do is I ordered these things online because Doc from the Love Boat has 3 gold stripes and 2 red ones in between, which signifies medical. You cannot find those anywhere because I don't think you're allowed to have medical stuff unless you're in the medical profession. So I found a place online that sold 3 gold stripes. That is it. 3 gold stripe shoulder boards. So I added the little button that's supposed to be there, and I added the stripes. So
Okay,
they
that's
came out
mostly.
pretty dosh darn good,
Ooh,
and
that's
they
very nice.
look just like Bernie Copel's would look on the Love Boat. So
I'm. That's about as much as I could do. I'm more a buyer or have
yeah,
made for me type person. I mean, this came from Walt Disney World, believe it or not, the little Indiana Jones shop next to the Indiana Jones show.
nice.
Probably the hat as well, many, many, many years ago. And in fact, it didn't fit for like 15 years until I lost a lot of weight. Uh, but I'm not really I can sew a whole clothes, but I'm not really a sewer. So I don't mind having stuff built. Uh, I've had some things 3D printed and then I've assembled them and put computer equipment inside because I'm good with that stuff. My Rocketeer jetpack, for example, does real lights and sound from the movie. Well, it does sound from the movie and it has LED lights that go on the bottom. And I put that in the jetpack. But I know some people think you should sew everything.
Yeah, when I used to work at this hotel in Newcastle, New Hampshire, and there was a girl there. Whose name was Jocelyn, and she was wicked good at like fabricating, sewing, and all kinds of stuff. And so she actually helped me with my Dr. Detroit. And then I have this jacket that's supposed to be like the one Jeff Bridges wore in Tron. And it's only in Tron for literally 5 minutes, but it's just a wicked cool jacket. It's a gray jacket, but then underneath the sleeves is red. So she sewed the red on this gray jacket for me, which looked phenomenal. So when I need something specific like that, I'll find somebody and be like, can anybody do this for me? But for the most part, like the t-shirt, I'll buy the thing or put it together that way or whatever.
For example, I had this made, and it's Galfredian Time Lord writing on the lapels and the sleeves.
Nice.
It was from Lord President Rassilon. It was in it was the ex-James Bond Timothy. He was in like 2 episodes of Doctor Who, not Timothy Daly, Timothy Dalton. It was 2 episodes in there, and of a Doctor Who episode, and so I had that made, and a really fantastic job. It only cost me $200, and that was the last one she ever made because it took her forever to do the hand painted thing on the writing. Because I know 3 people that called her afterwards and wanted the same thing, and she said no, not for any price.
Yeah,
but
with
I had Rocketeer jetpack. My Rocketeer leather coat created. Some things though, like my Loki, I bought all retail.
Nice.
Between Etsy and eBay and Amazon, I found that there's a lot out there that you can actually just buy.
Yeah.
Or make, and I'd much rather do that. I don't have it's nice for people that can sew things. I know Mink the Satyr. Do you know Mink? She's a cosplayer. She's going to be a guest at Wicked Comic-Con in Boston this year. I've done a bunch of things for her, and I see her online, and she like makes these incredible outfits, and it takes her like a day.
Yeah.
It's like what huh?
Well,
really amazing talent. Or my friend Blossoming Cosplay is a sewer, can make all these amazing outfits as well. But so who I cosplay depends on if I can buy or source the components.
Yeah.
Well, I'm picky that way.
So I know you have all these pictures available. This one really wasn't a cosplay, but I'm wicked proud of it. It's the one where I look like Tom Hanks and I'm standing outside like a shed or whatever with long hair and I'm in black shorts. So basically, Vermont did this thing called.
That's the one batch I said?
Yes. So
okay, I think I can bring that up.
A couple of years ago, Vermont did this thing called Crowdsourced Cinema, where they picked the movie Castaway, and you got submitted a 5-minute portion of the movie Castaway, and you had to go out and film it. So my crew filmed it at this little cabin, and I'm pretty psyched at how much I look like Tom Hanks in this photo. And I want to cosplay this sometime, but I got to wait for it to be warmer because this isn't something I'm going to cosplay in the middle of the winter. And run around the Comic Con.
Okay, let me see if I can bring that up right now.
Yeah, so that's me as Tom Hanks, and instead of filming it in a cave, it was during COVID. We used this cabin, and you can see the camera and all the stuff up there. So it's just like a behind-the-scenes shot or whatever. But that's available on YouTube, and if you go to my website, there's a link to that video or whatever. But I think I, for the most part, nailed it. So my girlfriend, Tracy, put my hair in really, really, really tight braids. And then I kept it in braids for 2 days. And then when we went to film, we pulled it out and my hair was all curly and it looked wonderful. And I've been trying to get Tom Hanks to see this footage and I've tagged him on Twitter and Facebook and it doesn't seem like he's ever seen it. But that's
I know Tracy. I knew Tracy before you were together.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just, I find little projects that I can do and, I can't sew or whatever, but I'm good with Photoshop. So I'm going to pop out a frame. I'm going to pop out a frame.
You on Instagram. I see many, many examples on there.
Yeah, I'm going to pop out a frame for 2 seconds so I can grab this thing. But this is something that I'm definitely proud of. when I did the dude, which we've showed the picture of a bunch of times, I try to take my cosplay to the next level, and I'm all about props. So the reason that I do Doc from the Love Boat and not any other character is because Doc has a stethoscope.
Yes.
Doc has other things going on. So the more things I can have, the more it adds to my cosplay.
I do know what you mean.
Yes, that thing is huge. So when I was doing the dude, I I like went in full bore, and before I even like showed up at a place to do the dude, I made sure I had all my ducks in a row. So there's a scene in The Big Lebowski where Jeff Bridges is looking through these records, and he pulls this one record out and looks at it and puts it back. It's not even a key scene in the movie, but I thought, okay, let me make this prop. So here's the record album from The Big Lebowski, front and back recreated, down to every little detail that was in the movie for 5 seconds. But I had to take it to the next level, and I'm like, let's add this. So I actually added a Tower Records sticker to make it look legit, like it's an actual record, when in reality this record doesn't exist. It was just a prop.
Little details.
Yes. So I do, when I cosplay, it's all about the little details.
For example, I have the actual gas mask bag they used in the movie.
Nice.
It was a World War II gas mask bag, and that was the little bag Indy had. I've seen a lot of people with other things, but I got the actual one. I had to.
Yeah. So it's things like
that's the whip from the first movie. It went to a brown whip in the second, third, and fourth movie, but the first movie it was this color, and I have it from the first movie. So what's your favorite cosplay?
So that's a loaded question. I don't know. I'll do one and I'm like, this is my favorite. And then I'll do another one. I'm like, okay, this is my favorite. And then I do another one. I'm like, this
I would have a hard time picking one.
So I think I'll answer it this way. What is the fan's favorite? And that would be Ernest. So if you ask 100 people what their favorite cosplay that I do is, 50 of them say Ernest. So that's half the people. Then the other 50 are split between, oh my God, I love your Roscoe. I love your
It depends on where you are. As Cosplay Dad said once, Tom, you know Tom?
Yes.
He said the right cosplay for the right event.
Yeah.
And so
I get the most reaction, I think, with Ernest. And I've got to work on the Ernest voice a little bit, because so you got three things. You got Jim Varney was a heavy smoker, so he's got a smoker thing going on, and then he was from Kentucky, so he's got a Kentucky accent going on. So, and then he's doing, a character within those two things that are going on. So it's a hard one to do, and it's sort of like Elvis Presley and Freddie Mercury's voice. Elvis's voice went all over the place while he was singing, and so did Freddie Mercury. And Jim Varney's did the same thing. So one minute he's like, you know what I mean? And he's down there, but then later on he's like, oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree. And then he's like somewhere else. So it's like a hard voice to nail. So when I do Ernest, it's hard for me to like become Ernest, because his voice is so unique that I haven't quite nailed that one yet. But it's the one that everybody likes the most.
The two cosplays that get the most reaction are Doc Brown. I have a small flux capacitor that I wear on that outfit. It took me years. I finally got the shirt from the movie. And I have a hoverboard and a Einstein puppet and a right wig and goggles and stuff. And I got a lot of reactions from that. And at Paul Bearer at a wrestling convention, I'm God.
Yeah.
A wrestling convention. I actually did it on a dare. That was the first time I ever did Paul. I learned to do the makeup. I drove to Providence. I got stopped 7 times on the way inside the hotel by people that wanted a picture and for me to do the voice. Oh, yes. And it took me forever to find the right urn. And inside, I must have taken 150 pictures that day with even professional wrestlers.
Nice.
So much so that the promoter asked me back as a guest. So suddenly I had a third career or fourth career as a pallbearer impersonator. But the right cosplay for the right convention, because you could wear something really great somewhere in the boonies. Though Vermont people seem to know who I was most of the time in Vermont, but at a few cons there. But in Maine, I don't think Maine people get stuff like 10 years later. So you cannot be recognized for a pretty mainstream characters in Maine. But in Boston and Terrificon and Super Mega Fest and Granicon, not a problem. What's the future cosplay?
I don't know. Again, I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I do want to do the Tom Hanks thing from the
Well, you've done that once already.
yeah. Well, it wasn't really cosplaying. It was for a mini movie thing or whatever. So I haven't really gone to a con as him. I don't know. Again, like I'm not burnt out. It's like Ghostbusters. I came, I saw, I kicked its ass.
That's
Like
my
I
latest
did it.
cosplay, by the way.
What?
My latest cosplay was Tom says I look more like Dan Aykroyd in my outfit. I had a Igor. Igor showed up in a Countess and Igor video in a Ghostbusters outfit, complete with backpack and everything, with a little patch that said Igor.
Nice.
I have another one that actually says Aykroyd's character that I'll wear because they're Velcro. But yeah. That was my latest one, which is now on a wall in my living room. All the different parts from it are hanging on the wall next to a huge print of Ecto One. But I do know what you mean. I don't do that many. But when I see one, I like know it, and then I go after it in like a very short period of time. But I did that. That was the only new cosplay I did two new cosplays last year were Ghostbusters and Loki.
I mean, Doc Brown was on my list, and again, my list is huge. I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to even do. Don't make Marcus. I just train him. Like Pee Wee Herman.
Pee-wee.
But Ghostbusters was on the list. Marty, we gotta get the DeLorean up to 85. I've always wanted to do Doc Brown, but I just, I don't know. I don't know what's in the future. It all depends on where my finances are and stuff. But like I say, right now I'm concentrating on getting my audiobook out there and this documentary. I'm hoping once the documentary is done.
Anything else you want to plug after this? Because we're going to be closing this up soon, so it's not over an hour.
Yeah, I mean, you just go to my website right there, and everything you need to know, including a link to buying this upside down book.
Yes.
Yeah.
You paid more for an upside down version?
The book there, I did a comic with Johnny C. and Jay Moores. It's called Bisbick Hines. There's a link there. So everything you need to know or would need to know about me is all right there at officialrwmartin.com. But
I got your Instagram on the credits of this program, so people could follow him on Instagram. Vermont Actor 007.
Yeah, that's it. VT Actor 007. So
it will be in the credits for this episode. Your Instagram ID is there.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, I thanks for having me as a first guest, and like I say, if you see me at a show, come up and get a picture. And like I say, in February, I'm going on a Love Boat cruise and meeting the cast, and that should be fun. And then who knows what after
COVID
that?
with the cast.
What's that?
COVID with the cast on a cruise boat.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Like I say, my costume looks pretty
hopefully
amazing.
COVID won't show up. Maybe everybody would have had COVID by then.
Yeah, I know. I'm fingers crossed. Like I say, I'm vaccinated and boosted, and
me too.
Wear my mask when I'm supposed to, and keep safe. So hopefully it doesn't get canceled and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's about all I got. I mean, again thank you for having me on and looking into my life.
No problem. Thank you for R.W. Martin for being the first guest. And we're going to close out this episode. We don't know who's going to be the next guest. It'll be somebody. If you want to be a guest, email Mark at SeriousPenguin.com and maybe I'll have you on. Thanks, R.W.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Recording's over.